So I have already told you about how the Vajrayana or the Tantrayana is really a path that has the wit or the wisdom understanding little or no gap between solution and the problem. But of course, this is what Telopa, a great tantric master, said: that which binds unwise, liberate the wise. So many examples are given. Some of the examples are very colloquial. If you have water in the ear, you put more water to take out. Stuff like this. Anyway, chief among, especially in the highest Yoga Tantra, chief among all the skillful means is the Guru Yoga. Now, this has caused so much, misunderstanding throughout the centuries. First of all, we need to know Vajrayana has always been a bit of a controversy. For that matter, even Mahayana was a controversy within the larger Sharvakayana tradition. But as you know, the way we define controversy is it's very connected to how we deal with our normal habitual patterns. But the Guru Yoga, even though it is very, I would say, in the highest Yoga Tantra, it is the most important, but it has caused so many issues. Now, Buddhism has one outer obstacle. It has always had that. I think all religions do, especially Buddhism. And it's a very strange obstacle because it is an obstacle that is sort of an inconvenient necessity, and it's the culture. So culture, while it is absolutely necessary, because without a culture you cannot even speak. Language is a very big part of the culture, you know that. I mean, this already, and even in the most fundamental level, like mind. What to say in Spanish? Mind.
Mente.
Mente. I don't know what it means for the Spanish. I actually don't know. I'm challenging my Western friends how much is being discussed and talked and studied about mind in the history of the West. In the East, like Buddhism, it is right from the beginning, 2,500. We are talking 3,000 tradition of discussing. The mind is the very big issue. Like in India, they have something like 50 to 60, 70 terms for just mind. I practice Manjushri also. And part of the Manjushri practice is chanting mantra. And the syllable of the mantra, Manjushri, is Di. Only until recently, I discovered that Di is actually a term for mind. So as you can see, this is a culture that actually chants mind, Di, 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 like that. So culture is important, but culture is the biggest obstacle also for Buddhism because it really hijacks all the time. So when Buddhism went to Tibet, the Tibetans have their own culture. Tibetans, they claim to have a lot of culture, but I don't know, I need to challenge my fellow Tibetans. And there's some of the, like Bhutanese. Yes, probably we all have a culture, but Tibetan music is so good. It's very like Indian, like the Western music. You have to sort of, you can study, right? Years after years. Like Bhutanese, Tibetan songs, some of it, you can just be with for about a week and then you almost can follow after a while. Okay, the problem is culture is also kind of attractive. It's also tangible, so people like things like all compounded things are impermanent. Nothing gives us total satisfaction. These things are, this wisdom, they're just abstract. People like to do something. People like to put their hands together like this. Most probably this came from India. It's a very Indian culture. And this is okay. I mean, this one, I could even give you some symbolic meaning of this, like lotus bud, offering your mind. Indians use the lotus and relate it to the mind, the nature of the mind. Lotus is born in the mud, but not stained by the mud, just like that. Buddha nature is with our emotion, but it's not stained, stuff like that. But there are some really fishy culture import also. Like in the Tibetan shrines, you will find drinking water offering, washing feet water offering. Tibetans don't wash in Tibet. Indians is one of the very, treasured sort of practice to wash the guests' feet and the good, the sublime beings' feet. Sometimes they do this even today. But that's practice in Tibet. And also in the mandala offering, they have substance like elephant. There's not elephant in Tibet. It's a very Indian thing. So culture coming. Now, the Tibetans have also forced Chileans, a lot of Tibetan culture. And some of it, you probably is even liking it. It's kind of exotic, colorful, this, that. So it doesn't matter, you can have it. But you just need to know those are not necessarily Dharma. If it helps you, why not? But just know that they are not Dharma. And I think after maybe many, many years, the Western culture will also influence the Buddha Dharma. It's inevitable. And actually, if you, the Chileans, if you have your own culture that really enhances the practice of the wisdom of the Buddha, I think it's good. But most probably your culture is also very much influenced by Netflix. So most probably you will have a lot of coddling American mind. I'm teasing the Americans. In America, there's so much coddling and safety measure, insurance and guarantees. You have to have a psychiatrist and a lawyer with you all the time. Also, masu, lot of padding, Now, Buddha Dharma and a safety measure. What is it that you want? Do you want to destroy ego? Well, then, not fundamentally, this doesn't, it contradicts. I'm just telling you, you just need to know these. Now, going back to the Guru Yoga, the Guru has created so much trouble. It's not even started yet in the West. It's starting sort of a little bit here and there, the trouble, Guru trouble. Because the tantric concept of the Guru, I think as briefly mentioned yesterday, it's not only a master and the guide, but it is the path. But this probably has been abused by the Tibetan lamas for centuries. Tibetan lamas have become the ruler of Tibet. They became politicians. Now, you are a guru, you are also the political leader, you have to do whatever I say. Can you see the convenience? It has really, really ruined Tibetan Buddhism quite severely. But, it's always like this, right? Every society has a similar situation, I think. But this is why I need to share you a few things. The Guru should never be taken, especially in the Tantra, Guru should never be taken as some sort of a fundamentally, essentially, Guru is not should never be taken as an outer sort of a dictator of your life. It is a path that you have. Ideally, after a lot of analysis, you willingly choose to have. You can always choose to climb a rolling English hill, or you can choose to climb Mount Everest. So from these angles, the Guru Yoga is actually really, really amazing. Fundamentally, Guru should be understood as nature of your mind, right? And I'm only talking about the Guru from the student's point of view right now, but actually, just as the students have the responsibility to relate to the Guru as the Guru, Guru also has a probably even more responsibility to see the students more important than their own flesh-born organs, whatever. Guru's only concern should be students' awakening. That has to be the goal. For that, whatever it takes, the Guru has to do. If it requires initially speaking gently, then speak gently. After a while, if the speaking gently need to be upgraded to speaking abruptly, then the Guru should be also brave to do that. If the Guru even for one moment think, oh, if I scold him or her, she will dislike me, not good. You are not interested in the enlightenment of the disciple. You are only interested in collecting your fan base. It's a very delicate thing. So there's volumes and volumes that you can read about how to analyze the Guru, and the Guru must also analyze the student. If the student do not analyze the Guru and then take the Guru as the Guru, then it's like supposedly like jumping over a cliff. If the Guru does not analyze the student and take the student as a student, then it's like drinking poison. But Guru, as I said, is not a separate entity, not a dictator out there, commander. There is not a single Guru Yoga where you, at the end, you supplicate everything, where you do not dissolve you and the Guru in one. If there is, that Guru Yoga is not a good Guru Yoga. Jinjilo is the word in Tibetan translated as blessing me, but Jinjilo maybe is not the best translation, but the word Jinlap has something to do with corn or I don't know, rice. You put ferment, right? And then it becomes wine. You understand? There's a little bit of a connotation of that. Basically, make me you, you me, like that. It's like one. Anyway, for the Tantra, Guru is important. Guru Yoga is important. It's like a way or the path or a trail to find yourself. So for the Tantrikas, Guru is the Buddha, Guru is the Dharma, Sangha, that, everything. Even as a technique, it's actually quite daring. I mean, if people really know the whole Guru concept, it's actually quite daring. Kind of handing over all your being into someone else's hand. That's already a big courage. But if you understand the whole tantric view and its vision, it should also be blissful. No need to cut your limbs and feed hungry tigers for countless eons. No need to do, so many self-flagellation. Just the path of the Guru Yoga alone will accomplish everything. But also, what do we mean by the Guru Yoga? Well, the Tantrika will say Guru Yoga is the highest vipassana. There is no greater mindfulness or the vipassana than this, Guru Yoga. But from the ordinary perception point of view, the concept of the Guru Yoga can be very, very, it may be too unsafe for you in your mind and very sort of cultish. But as I repeated, before. If you understand the tantric, the whole scope, or at least some fundamental view, then actually it's not like not doable. It's very much doable. But yes, in the causal path, like a Mahayana, so-called Mahayana, there is no, even if they mention the word guru, it is not similar. It's basically one who leads you, one who gives you the direction. And then, of course, your own karma plays important. Guru may be qualified, but if you don't have that karmic connection, then it also doesn't work. You know, in the life of the Padmasambhava, he spent long time in Tibet because he was invited by the Tibetan king. But he never ever mentioned the name of his guru, even though the kings and the queens, they asked him, who is your guru? Few times. Now this alone is a really important point. Many times we are not even supposed to say, just like the Tantra. This Tantra also means secret, by the way. The guru tantric attributes has to be kept secret, especially the identity of the guru. But all this, has changed now. So now, I think in India, in the ancient time, nobody knows who is a tantric master. Remember, I told you the story of that arrow maker, the Sarahas, looks just ordinary. The identity of a Mahayana, Sutrayana, or Charvakayanas, abbot, preceptor, master, not hidden. If anything, they are enthroned almost. Oh, so and so master of this monastery, But Vajrayana Guru, it can be found among the prostitutes, king, merchants, ordinary people. But as I said, time has changed. Now we even tell others. And in a way, if you have, like myself, I tell people my guru is like Jabjit Khyentse Rinpoche, for instance. And many people do that. Many people say they are so-and-so's student. But many also has a ulterior motivation because it's kind of like a diploma plaque in the dentist's office. I'm trying to think, is it like that for me also? I don't know. Dangerously, it could be. But many times I actually think I utter the name of my gurus so that you will hear the name of my guru. Because I treasure him, I feel that you just hearing the name of him, the name of my guru, for me, these 3 days of talking to you is worthy. Because otherwise, I have made you listen to me for 3 days. And if I didn't do, with a good motivation and all of that, it's a karmic debt for me. I have to now listen to each of you for 500 lifetimes. Rubbish, So I need to make it worthy. So I just throw in the name of my guru. Just so there's that kind of thing. But Guru Rinpoche, Padmasambhava, refused to say the name of his guru. Every time they asked, first he said no. After a few months, the king and the ministers, they all stood up and did prostration. Said, please, this time you tell me the name of your guru. He just stood up and go. And many years later, Yeshe Tsogel did the prostration on behalf of everyone. And then Guru Rinpoche said, okay, I will tell you, but not here. You all need to be also prepared. Anyway, a lot of drama, so to speak. I forgot the name. Anyway, they went to this very holy place. And then Guru Rinpoche said, okay, you guys have asked me this many times. It has never been a proper occasion to reveal my Guru's name. He says something like, I dare not even call him a name. I dare not even label him. He should not be sort of demoted to the area of something to be labeled. But then he said, but you all have devotion, love, and all of that. So now may be the right time. So then he uttered the name of his Guru. Well, in the text it says such a number here, like the earthquake, like a typhoon, the wind, the rainbow, then lights and all that. Like everyone also fainted for a while, and then everyone sort of rose to very blissful situation. Anyway, if you want to know the name of this Guru, Shri Simha. If Shri Simha is alive today, I think he will be holding Chinese passport. Yeah, he's somewhere around that, what the Chinese call it, Xinjiang. These stories may sound a bit over the top for some of you, but this character of over the topness is so important because it's just so precious. The consequence, the event is so precious. The only way to express is like this kind of over the top kind of. So anyone who thinks, oh, it's just a fairy tales, they immediately get cancelled. Anyway, along with the Guru in the Tantra, there is also practice of Deva or the Yidam, some sort of a deity. And then there's also Dakini, for instance. But Guru is embodiment of all the rest. I think Deva, we already talked yesterday, remember? It's the nature of your mind. Dakini is the same thing, like a Vajra Yogini. I forgot the name of the Sakepa Lama. Sakepas are known for being very, very strict with the Vinaya, like the conduct of the monk and nun. But, and in Tibet, this is a really good thing. In Tibet, as I said yesterday, many times they practice Charvakayana, Mahayana, and the Vajrayana together. There's this Sakepa master, name I forgot, pure monk, but he is an ardent practitioner of Vajrayogini. Only think about the Vajrayogini. And one day, as he was walking around the Bauddha stupa, Kathmandu, there's a stupa Bauddha. He was walking around. Suddenly, from the crowd, among the crowd, a beautiful girl hugged him from behind. And because he was a monk wearing robe, and he thought, oh, this is really bad. And the crowd, the girl holding me, people will really, say bad things. So he shrugged her off. That night, in his dream, Vajrayogini's face rose like a sun behind those buildings of the Bauddha. Then he really, really regretted for doing what he did. And then he did so many prayers, like saying, please come back, do whatever you need to do. And supposedly Vajrayogini in his dream came and said, because you had that doubt in this physical life, even though I come, you will never see me. When the Vajrayogini said this, the Lama cried bitterly and really became so hopeless. But Vajrayogini said, but you should never worry, because from the moment your breath stops in this physical life, you will see a ladder made out of coral. Without a doubt, just climb that. You can see, I'm giving you the idea, because our topic is combining the sutra, the Mahayana or the causal path and the Vajrayana path, which I will conclude by saying how to do it. When I was growing up, one of my caretaker was a disciple of Khyentse R. He was also a pure monk. In fact, he has even a responsibility. He has to preside over the monks. Sojong, it's like a practice of restoration of their vow and all that. So as a monk, he has to be he's so strict with basically ladies. But I have witnessed him, because I used to tease him a lot. I'm always teasing somebody when they are, like they have a certain thing that they do really seriously, I guess. But he was a really, really great practitioner. And many times I've seen him buying food and small, small things like flowers and, those plastic bracelets. And then he will do this practice called Gana Chakra, which is a feast offering. And he would go around and give it to the girls, ladies, anyone, just give, because he said, oh, I had to do this renouncance sort of ritual, which involved, a bit like staying away from the ladies. So then as a tantrika, he feels really torn. So then he restored his action by making offerings. You may ask this question like, so in this case, how can we practice? This struggle is the practice. At least, you have to go through that a little bit. And it's kind of wonderful because it's like treasuring your ethic, which is important, but crashing that with the practice of wisdom. So you just do that, canceling each other. Okay, now, how to combine and practice in our day-to-day life. And actually, I will include the Sarvakayana practice also. As the base of Sarvakayana practice, try to think that your life, this life, is like buying a new car. From the moment after you bought, the car value has gone down, right? Depreciation. You should think like that you cannot fix everything. You cannot. This is kind of important. This is sort of the fundamental Sarvakayana practice. That, it's like fixing toilets in India. You can scotch tape, paint over it, looks even fresh, but sooner or later it's going to leak. That's how you should consider your life. No matter what, something is going to go wrong. Something is going to leak. You can never make this perfect. This is really the fundamental Sarvakayana practice. And I think it's also good for forget Buddhism, even just to live, I think this is important. For your relationship life, for your, just pension planning. I think it's just good to have that in your head. It's really going to have some sort of watch over your wild consumer capitalist life. It will also help protecting environment, because the reason why the environment is in danger is because we somehow think that things can be fixed. So something is going to go wrong. And just accepting this is such a liberation. It will really make you relax. And it will really make you also not too preoccupied and not too fixated, I guess. So that's your Sarvakayana path. You can think like that time to time. It doesn't matter when and how you think. But if you keep on thinking, it will become part of you. Meditation basically is habituation. Sitting straight does not necessarily help you to habituate. Habituating that it's not going to be perfect. Now the Mahayana. And I'm going to make this very, simple. So something that is doable by everyone. Now this is actually, I'm quoting from a sutra. And a king asked the Buddha, what should I practice? So the following, what I'm going to say is what Buddha said. Practice, aspiration bodhicitta. Once a day, every hour, once a week, month, a year, if you're that lazy. or actually just once in lifetime. So let's choose once a month. It doesn't matter which date. On that day, you think, okay, from now, from today, from this moment till the next date, whatever I do or don't, however I exist or not exist, what I wear, how I smell, how I sound, as long as, okay, so even things like breathing in and out, even napping, sleeping, just loitering around, window shopping, browsing webs, no matter what, whatever, somehow made this one way or another awaken sentient beings. That's good enough. You cannot say that you have no time to practice this one. And I'm telling you, I have the backup of all the Buddhas and the sutras and the shastras saying that this alone will open up all the path. And but one thing I need to emphasize is that it will awaken, not necessarily it will benefit. I think benefit is very awaken, meaning enlightened. That quality should be there. This is what Buddha said to the king. This is also is the bodhicitta practice. On the most fundamental level, bodhicitta is this wish to enlighten others. And according to people like Shantideva said, even while you are sleeping or loitering around, every moment you are accumulating merit. Okay? So that's your Mahayana practice. Now the Vajrayana practice. First, very simply, have pure perception to everyone, everything. Basically, that is the most pragmatic, practical, essential Vajrayana practice. Okay, but I think this one I might need to explain a little bit more. So, pure perception, what does it mean? Do we think that everybody has a golden color, everybody's kind, compassionate? I don't know. Everybody looks like a deity, they are deity, all of that. I think how you should begin the pure perception is this. Get used to thinking that everything is my perception. Nothing exists outside your perception. It's all your projection. It's all your hallucination. It's all your trip. You see somebody nasty, your trip. You see somebody really good, another projection. Get used to this. Really learning that there's nothing beyond your perception. Actually, I would say almost 80% of the so-called tantric pure perception practices achieved if you do that. And by the way, it's not just only the human beings or whatever, everything, like a earthquake, disasters, war. I know a lot of people can't, that can't be my perception. That's happening there. We have no time to discuss this right now, but it's actually our perception. Perception is also the ingredient of what we call karma. About 300 million people's karma has resulted to phenomena of absence of Kamala. And not just 300, in this case, quite a big time, the whole world. And our karma, our perception has given us the result of having a phenomena that has an orange skinned person. Now, good and bad is a perception. Let's see where this leads. It's we can also manipulate. That's the thing. This is the power of the perception. With the bodhicitta, if you do prayers, may we all experience a perception of a situation, a person, an idea, an event that will shift the world to something so-called better. That really that has an impact. It's called a group phenomena. I think I talked about that yesterday. Mass psychosis is and mass psychosis are contributed by individual psychosis. And never underestimate your own aspiration. Okay, so this is really the most fundamental attitude of practicing causal path and the tantric path together in our day, in this age. Now, you want to do something more traditional? Choose a sadhana, which there's so many. I'm going to give you the transmission of Tara and also Rivo Sancho later. So let's choose Rivo Sancho. I will just use the Rivo Sancho as your sadhana practice. What I'm trying to say is, see, you want to know how to practice all yanas in our day-to-day life. So I'm going to tell you that. So depending on what situation you're in, let's say you are living in an apartment, there's a strong fire regulation, then burn one incense. Let's say you are flying in the aeroplane. In that case, you don't even have to burn incense. You can still do Rivo Sancho. Now, sometimes when you are up somewhere in the hill or the mountain or a forest where you can actually make a fire, then maybe create a fire with some herbs, incense, substance such as sesame seed, mustard seed, flowers, sandalwood, whatever you think precious. It doesn't have to have a specific substance. We tend to not to burn meat. The reason is in the Rivo Sancho, the offering also goes to some local deities and nagas. They don't like the burnt meat. For the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, no preference. Even to think that the Buddha will like this, smell is very limited thinking. Okay, so let's say we choose the Rivo Sancho as the sadhana practice of the day. Then you can begin with, but it's in the text, everything is written there. Okay, as the Charvakayana practice, you take refuge, right? To the Padmasambhava, who is the essence of all embodiment, all the object of refuge, who is the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Dhaka, Dakini. I take refuge from here to enlightenment, something like that. So that is your Sarvakayana practice. Then on top of that, you have the Mahayana practice, which is also in the text. It's bodhicitta, which is basically you are doing this song offering to awaken all sentient beings. Okay, I'm making it very, very brief. Otherwise, the Rivo Sancho is quite complicated. I mean, it's very, very, very profound. It has a commentary. Then you make fire or burn the incense or visualize. Then, if you want to elaborate, the smoke is beautiful offering goddess. Just to elaborate, you don't have to. On her right hand holds a scoop. From this scoop comes all the offering substance. The offering substance has to be limitless. Most of us, we think offering substance as a gold, silver, diamond. Not just that. Everything, whatever people wish, whatever the object of offerings wishes. Maybe there's some beings who wants to have a sleeping pill. The smoke becomes a sleeping pill. Maybe, I don't know, there are some beings who might just want to have a breeze or anything, limitless. On her left hand, she should hold a vase with water coming out. I don't know whether this is maybe a little bit Tibetan culture, but probably you might like this to do this. From it comes a lot of nectar. This is especially, I'm telling you the Chilean here. I was thinking earlier, should I tell this or not? So, but I decided to tell you this. I have no logic, just feeling. Feeling is based on Andes mountains. You know, as a Himalayan, when we grow up, the mountains always are supposedly abode of, you know, these gods and asuras and all the spirits. Now, the word sang is something to do with the purification, especially purifying from mugginess, nick, drowsy, muggy. You know, it's a big subject also. You know, they call it the 5 sign of degeneration. Basically, 5 mugginess. Muck, M-U-C-K, exhaust, muck. Do you have that word in Spanish? Of course, right? According to Buddhists, there are 5 different kinds of mugginess. The worst one is called mugginess of view. Everybody becomes so fanatical. I only read New York Times. All the others are fake. That is journalism mugginess. You understand? I'm giving you an example. You know, just like so, you know, like polarization and the mugginess of emotion. Everybody's one way or another bipolar. Everybody's one way or another bulimic. Everybody's one way or another Asperger, autistic, hypersensitive, hyper not sensitive. They really bug me. Sensitive when it comes things to me, but totally not sensitive when it matters to others. Proud of being very direct and honest, but can't take one word of honesty from the others. All of that, you know, the modern day issues, murkiness, all that. And then also junk food, really. And junk lifestyle, like going to bed when the sun rises. And not necessarily that is too bad, but you know, but just upside down life. Anyway, supposedly these kind of thing really makes the mountain gods and goddesses and the spirits really, they get really confused. So from her left hand, from the vase comes this purification water that will purify them. Also, this water will also soothe Nagas. And I think that Chile may have a lot of Nagas. You know, I'm sure there's all the Nagas, you know, related to these Mayans, the Incas, you know, they may still be hovering around here. So, yeah, so you can visualize those and then do the sadhana. All the time thinking they are also my projection. And then, of course, making offerings to Guru, Deva, Dakini, all of that. Then, at the end, dedicate the merit. So that is how you practice Triyanas combined in this day and age, if you want to use the sadhana. Okay, we will now, if you want to take a short break, very short break, and then we do the transmissions. So first, we are going to take the refuge vow. So traditionally, we need a statue of Buddha, which is here already. This will be used as a symbol, of course. So thinking that this Shakyamuni, this statue is real Buddha sitting here, please do, those who can, 3 prostration towards here, or just bow 3 times is also fine. And now you can sit down, supposedly on your knees, but if you cannot, that's fine. Now, very briefly, taking refuge to the Buddha fundamentally means taking refuge to your own Buddha nature. And taking refuge to the Dharma means fundamentally to take refuge to the truth, such as impermanence. And Sangha is the community that follows that kind of truth. But symbolically, you are taking refuge to the Buddha, as in the teacher, Dharma as the path, and the Sangha as a companion. So thinking that, please repeat after me. Jangchup Nyingbar, Chi Jibar, Sanje Namla, Japsuchi, Chödang Changchup, Sambai, Tolang, Asian, Japsuchi. And one more supplication. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dharmam Sharanam Gacchami, Sangam Sharanam Gacchami. Okay, one more time, the last time, and then I will snap my finger. At that time, you have taken refuge. Okay, you have taken refuge vow. As somebody who has taken refuge, you have to keep in mind, you will now take the path of the non-duality. So as a precept, it doesn't make any sense to also take refuge to a path that is dualistic path. So therefore, your precept is not to take refuge to the path of the duality and the teacher that teaches you the dualistic teachings, and the community that teaches you or that practices dualistic path. Okay, now that you have taken the refuge, you are vessel for taking Bodhisattva vow, thinking that all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are in front of you, and also thinking that all sentient beings are in front of you. Generate this determination to awaken all sentient beings. Thinking that you are generating this vow, repeat this. Chitar nganji, deshe ji, chanchup tuni, jebatang, chanchup sembe, labala, eda rimijin, nebatar, ejin dola, endendu, chanchup semni, jeji shing, ejin tuni, labalang, rimbajindu, labar ji. Okay, one more time. Third time. After that, again, I will snap my finger. At that time, you have taken the Bodhisattva vow. Okay, you have taken the refuge vow and the Bodhisattva vow. So to celebrate this, I will do some auspicious verses. Sanje pemantam daji bichenga deni jiten gibi tashitang densuna tadam ichu chöji yugunam deni jiten gibi tajini gendendam chötan soji chorongo zachedan baji jiten gibi tashisum. Now, for those who have never taken refuge, there is a tradition of cutting a little bit of hair. You don't have to do it, but if you want, you can come here. So that's just symbolically cutting hair, symbolizing surrendering to the truth, I guess, and to symbolize sort of change of shift in your life. Usually, people also have the tradition of giving names, but you don't have to use it. It's just symbolic. So I'm going to give you a name which will be memorable, I think. 3-line, the long name. Try to remember. Don't worry, spiders. That's 1 line. I keep house. 2nd line, that's. 3rd line, casually. That's your name. Don't worry, spiders. I keep house casually. It's a poetry written by a great Zen master, because it's so simplicity and the raw navaness. Nothing is good. Okay, now I'm going to give you some transmission. First, Guru Rinpoche transmission. So please repeat after me. Om Ahung, Banza Guru, Pema Siddhi Hung, Om Ahung. Okay, now Avalokiteshvara, repeat after me. Om Mani Peme Hung Shri. Now Aryatara, repeat after me. Om Tare, Tutare, Ture Soha. And I'm also giving the transmission of the 21 praise to Tara. Now, Devasangship. Then a short Ngondo. And then there was some request of transmission of prayer to Kesar. A very short one. Okay, that's all the transmissions. So that's about it. I'm sure we will bump into each other again. Since there's a karmic link and karmic debt we have to pay each other, I hope that especially for those who are very new, that you have at least have some sort of idea about what Buddha Dharma is through our conversation these past few days. As you can see, there is definitely, the Buddha Dharma has a lot to offer for the modern mind. So if you see any benefit, please explore. And as Buddha himself said, I strongly emphasize you, analyze. And then after a while, you need to get rid of analysis, because otherwise it's like going to toilet with a diarrhea situation. You can't just keep on analyzing whether this is toilet or not. When the shit comes, you have to do it. So don't waste too much of your time doing that also. Anyway, there's nothing much to lose. There's nothing more to lose. You have lost a lot of things. If you believe in reincarnation, if all the bonds are put together, your past lives' bonds, they'll be like 10,000 times more than all the undays. Okay. Good.
In name of all of those who gathered after you accepted coming to Chile, something that was not easy, we thank you. All who are here, we thank you. Everyone who's on their screen, thanks you too. And we ask sincerely that until you return to this place, may our practice be genuine, and may we flourish in your teachings. Thank you, Rinpoche.